Well, hello everybody. Happy Monday. It's Nancy Fox, Fractional Connections. It's LinkedIn Live on Monday, as it always is. I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving holiday. If you traveled somewhere, I hope it was easy. I hope you had a great meal, great experience with family and friends, and are ready to get back into the saddle now. I certainly am. It was a wonderful weekend. This weekend for me was a big dance weekend. I was at the U.S. Open for West Coast Swing, which means it's the number one event of the year for all West Coast swing dancers. And so people came in from all over the world, Asia, Africa, Europe, Canada, everywhere. All we did was dance all weekend and look at amazing performances. So if I'm a little peaked, it's because I'm all danced out. But today we had a little bit of we had a little change in the schedule today. We had a guest planned for today. We had David Schnurman, who is one of my favorite entrepreneurs ever. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's a fantastic business owner. And he was going to talk to us about engaging fractional leaders and executives in his company and his experience and his strategies around that. But unfortunately, he had a really bad back problem and is sort of out of commission for a little bit. So we're wishing him a speedy recovery and definitely want to see him back in this. We'll definitely reschedule him for January so we can have him share his experiences and his strategies around it. It's going to be very informative for all of you fractional executives and consultants who really want to understand what's going on in the mind of of entrepreneurs and what they're thinking and what they're really seeing as the opportunity around fractional leadership and fractional executives as they're bringing them into their companies. So today, on the fly, I decided I wanted to really chat with you about how you can, as a fractional executive, how you can use what I call micro workshops or micro webinars to land new clients, to engage new prospects, and to land new clients. And I think for many of the fractional executives, you guys have had amazing experiences in leading other people, in giving presentations, in having a lot of experience in guiding others. But when it comes to doing this for your own business, it might be a little bit of a new area for you because there's a lot of technology involved. Usually as an executive, all of the systems and all of the technology set up for you. You've got all the infrastructure. People are doing that. A lot of times you're even getting templates for your PowerPoint slides and all of that. So when you're doing this on your own as a fractional executive, unless you're part of a firm that's setting all of this up for you, and even then, you still want to bring your own personal flavor, your own personal knowledge, your own personal thought leadership to your own presentations. It's really important because this is delivering a micro workshop to your prospects is really building your thought leadership. It's building know, like, and trust really, really fast. And that is really the objective. You want people to get to know you. You want people to get a sense of you. You want people to get a feel and an understanding about what you're bringing to the party and what's in it for them. Because the only thing that people really are hearing for themselves is what's in it for me. They're not being selfish. They're just being human. They want to know, what can you give them? What can you show them? What can you teach them? What guidance do you have for them to help them solve their most pressing, their most painful problems? I was just talking to a client of mine who had a procedure this weekend, and it was so painful that he had to take extreme pain medication. So that's what it's not like having a little minor headache or a little minor toothache. This was extreme pain. And when people are in extreme pain, they want extreme solutions and they want them yesterday. And so that's why doing a mini workshop is really a game changer for business development for fractional executives. I've used this technique many times when I first began using this, we didn't even have webinars at the time. We were starting with just teleclasses. I mean, that's how ancient a business mine is. It's like we started with teleclasses. But today we have the option of doing really great technologically very proficient webinars, and we can use a lot of different tools and a lot of different technology in making our presentations and our workshops really great. So let me give you a few tips about how to actually go about this. So the first thing I want to say is you could do a free or a paid workshop. Now, free, obviously you're going to get more attendees depending on the topic. It's easier to get people into attendance. You can do them live, you can do them recorded. Most of the time, I have done a lot of recorded webinars. I like recorded because I like to have everything very, very established, very planned out, very, very just sort of really mapped out well and very predictable. On the other hand, live is really great for engagement. And if you've got a good feel for your audience and you really love the experience of interactivity, it's a great way to do it. I find that sometimes having all of the chit chat about who's on the line and who's commenting and who's all of that, I can find that a little distracting for myself, but a lot of people just love it. They love the energy. So it's up to you. You can do it live or you can do it recorded. You can actually do it live, record it, and then use it later as a replay. So that's a big option. For the paid version, if you're going to do a paid workshop, a mini workshop as a lead generation tool, I recommend that you charge no more than $45 for this. So I've seen people charging all different kinds of prices for them. Sometimes if you're doing a full course, that's different. That's not a mini workshop. That's not a lead generation tool. That's really a major offer. So if you're going to be doing a micro or a mini workshop to provide lead generation opportunities for you, charge no more than $45 and make sure, and the only way you should really be doing a paid workshop, an online workshop of this type, is if you have a very high ticket offer. If you've got a very low ball offer, let's say you're just doing a one-off class on something, or you're doing a one-off session with clients, this is not the place to be doing a paid workshop. That you should do as a free one. So if you've got a higher ticket offer, doing a paid workshop would be viable if you're charging no more than $45. Now, you can you can get this set up in a variety of places. You could be positioning and announcing this through a variety of resources. You can do it on Eventbrite. You can do it on LinkedIn. You can do it on your own landing page. You can do it a variety of different ways, but you can set it up accordingly on a variety of different platforms. But pick one. Now, the only thing I want to say is whatever you decide to do a micro workshop on, make sure you do not cover too much. It's got to be where people get one specific, very focused takeaway. The broader you go in a workshop, the less effective it will be, and even though you're trying to put a lot in to create a lot of value, what really will draw people in is if they are suffering with one key problem. It could be that and I want to give you an example of this. One of your clients might be, or prospects might be, suffering with loss of talent retention, right? Talent retention is a problem for them. But a narrower approach would be, let's say they're seeing a really big issue in the sales department. They're losing salespeople. That would be a narrower focus. How to end loss of talent in your sales department. So you really want to get focused. And it could even be it could be deeper than that. How to train your VP level talent to engage their employees better, to show empathy better. You really want to be very, very specific in your trainings. Give one takeaway, one major takeaway, and then break it out into more things, into deeper dives within that one thing. The reason is you want your attendees to feel like they're getting a quick win and a quick takeaway so they can get their head wrapped around this. The more broad you make it, the harder it is for people to wrap their head around what they really got. People are pretty distracted today. They're on information overload. So that's why today I really want you to learn how to do one thing: how to set up a micro workshop to get to land clients, right? Not how to do all workshops, or not how to do the entire. It's really about how to gain leads. So That's really the key thing, is to really get very focused. Most people have a real struggle with this because we wind up, when we start creating the workshop, we start getting into all of the nitty gritty and the details, and we just want to give so much value that you can create a very long workshop. And that's the other thing. I think you really want to keep your workshop very tight. In days gone by, we would have a 1 hour to a 90-minute workshop, and that was really very desirable. But that's not true today. We are on information overload. So I really like to do lead generation or prospecting workshops, micro workshops. I like to make them 1/2 hour to 45 minutes max. Now, if I'm doing a paid workshop, then you can do a 90-minute training. That's different, because you want to give, they're expecting a deeper dive, and they're expecting more value. You want to make sure that when you do your mini workshops, that you have at least one, maybe a couple of additional downloads after the event that you can give them, to give them some extra bonus, a feeling of an extra bonus, and they can just download it. But make it digital. The more complex it is for them to access something, the harder it is for you to keep that connection with that prospect going. But it is a way you can give a bonus as an email option afterward, like you tell them, here's a bonus, or you can offer it right in the class. So I like to do both. I like to offer it in the class, and then I like to send a follow-up email giving them the option to sign up for the bonus. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about, which I think is probably the most important, the biggest question I get from everybody is, what structure is the best structure to use for a lead generation workshop, a mini workshop? Well, I've done so many different formats over the years. And I really sort of used a format earlier on that was built on an outline of giving information. The information was the key to the whole thing. I've learned over the years that that's not the major, that's really important. The information and the takeaways that people get, you want them to feel valued, but there's some other factors here that I think are much as important, or maybe even more. So I want to go through them step by step with you, because I have developed, I'm going to show this to you. I've developed the perfect webinar format, right? I don't know if that's backwards for you or not, but it's the perfect webinar format, and I have a template. So I'm going to read each step to you. It's 9 steps, and I'm just going to go over it briefly, because at the end of this, I'm going to give you an opportunity to get it for yourself. Okay, so the first piece is the title slide. Now, the title is really important. Some of you think the title needs to be really short. It does not. The title needs to be a how-to. Here's what a how-to statement, how-to something. You want to make sure that the audience is understanding what they're going to learn, the how-to, and you want to give your audience, or your prospective audience, a very clear picture of who this is for. It's so important. If you don't tell people who this is for, and if you're not specific, it's too broad, and you will not attract the ideal audience to you. So make it easier on yourself and your audience. Tell them what they're going to learn in the title. And by the way, it could be a long title. It can be how to X, Y, Z, D, E, whatever you're saying, and it could be pretty long. You can include some pieces in it, and you can also include an after tagline, which is without something, or even if. So let me give you an example of a title. So, how to start an online business in 5 simple steps for newcomer online marketers, right? So in there, I've shown what you're going to learn. There's even a very clear picture that they're going to get 5 steps, right? And I've identified that it's for newbie online marketers. It could be for lawyers, or for even business lawyers, or for chiropractors. Make it for your audience. Make it very, very specific. And then the tagline could be, without having any tech experience, without having a lot of extra time, or you can also include, and even if you've tried all these things before. So I like those without and even if statements, because it makes people realize that whatever they've struggled with in the past that has not worked, this is going to be different for them. So the title slide's really important. The second piece in the structure, who this is for. The very next thing I tell people after I start the webinar is, are you in the right place? This is for so and so, so and so, and so and so. That's what I tell people. I tell people exactly who it's for. And that's usually about 1 to 2 slides. Then I will tell them what they're going to be learning. And I go through an outline of strategies and tactics, a very, very succinct outline, not going into a whole lot of detail. In the outline, they're going to learn just bullet points, bullet, 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 bullet. And I make it very specific and very measurable, because the more unspecific and untangible it is, you lose engagement. So they want to stick. The more tangible it is, the more they're going to want to stick with you throughout the entire presentation. And then I have a really important slide or two. And this is so important. I found this out, that this is probably one of the most critical pieces that I never did, but once I started doing it, it really up-leveled engagement by 50%. So the next piece is, does this sound like you? I literally have a slide that says, does this sound like you? And I will go through various circumstances, various pain points, various experiences that people have told me about, and I'll outline them on these slides. Does this sound like you? And I'll frame this in a question. Does this sound like you? Do you feel X? Do you experience Y? Have you gone through Z? And that is because, the reason this is the most important piece of the structure is because people actually see themselves, visually see themselves in the exact arena that you're going to be covering. And when they connect to the fact that you get them and they see themselves in this environment, they want to stick with you and learn more, because they know you get them. And that's the trust part. It's already starting to build with them. So the does this sound like you portion of the program is crucial. Now, you can say it in various ways. You can say it as, does this sound like you? It can be, does this sound familiar? Is this your experience? But do something like it so that people can actually listen and hear that you get them. And you're outlining various experiences and circumstances that they have personally gone through, that they are suffering with, that they want to overcome, eliminate, and evaporate. And that's what you're going to help them do in this presentation. The next section is the learning section. And of course, this is all of the wonderful knowledge you're going to give them in the format that you're choosing to do. I personally recommend that you give people some road mapping kind of visual, so that they can see that they're starting here and ending here, and you're giving them a roadmap. And then and then after that section, you will summarize everything. You'll go, here's what you learned today. You learned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I literally just repeat what I want, the original outline. I'll just repeat the outline. Then, and this is really important, then is the call to action. And how I frame this is a very specific way. But basically, you want to give only one call to action. And most people make a big mistake, and they give 1 or 2. They want to give so much value that they give so many different calls to action to people, and they give too many links. So if you're sending people into 3 different areas, they're not going to pick anything. They're just going to click out. Make sure you give 1 call to action and 1 follow-up link, and that's it. Then you'll want to invite your attendees to the call to action and remind them of the new future that they're going to have when they take action on what you've given them. Remind them of the new future they're going to have, the future where all of their problems and their issues are solved, resolved, evaporated. And finally is the wrap up. Thank your audience. Thank them for being with you. Have your contact information on the last slide. And this is very important. That call to action and your contact information should stay up for a long time, because people they need time to capture that information, right? Now you can follow up. Of course, your follow-up emails will be part of this. You're going to send that information, but leave that last slide up for a long time so that they can capture the information. All right, that is my perfect webinar micro workshop format. I'm open to questions. Anybody got any questions for me? I see a few people with me. Anybody got any questions? Hey, John, welcome. Oh, I'm so glad that you came in. That's really great. I'm sorry you had to update your Chrome, but hey, technology today, we've got a lot of solutions for that. Anybody have any questions on what I shared with you today? William, you've got your hand up. Shoot, there you go.
Oh, I put it in the chat. So I actually have two. In your experience, are micro workshops or any workshops really like that? I think you're focusing sort of on thought leadership, but are they for engagement and attendance? Are they better done with a guest speaker kind of thing? But if you're trying to do your thought leadership, you're giving away your thought leadership if you have a guest. I think
I
potentially.
think both are great. Sometimes you can do, I've done them numerous ways. I've done them with panel discussions. I've done them alone. When you're building your thought leadership, I like alone. You doing it solo because you're building your thought leadership. But I've done them where I've had guests, and both when you do a guest, what's nice about that when it's a relevant guest and you then can cross market, so you can both send it to both of your email list, your markets, and so that's a benefit of that. um, I wouldn't start with a guest. I probably would start with your own thought leadership as a first step to building your own know, like, and trust with your ideal clients. That's where I would begin.
Great. Well, so one other question, and I super appreciate the is this you? I that resonated really
Does
well
it
with me.
sound like you?
Does this sound like that? Oh
Isn't
man,
that brilliant? I know.
it is.
I learned
Oh,
it. And when I did that, you see, the whole idea here is to have people start to really bond with you. And that is a bonder. It's a really big bonder, right?
for sure. So
Cool.
I noticed, like for this meeting, for example, you didn't collect my contact information. Now you have it, but maybe other people might not have.
I'm just about to cover that. I'm going to cover that in a minute. You're right about that. So these LinkedIn Lives have not been in the format that I just taught you. They've just been open forum. They're sort of a seeding ground, right? They're a seeding ground. And in a moment, I'm going to share with you how I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm going to do exactly what you suggested. But in order to capture the email, that's a registration-based workshop, right? These are open trainings and open just topics. They're just sort of light topics, and they're not workshops. If they were a workshop, they would be an email capture opportunity. So, yeah, good point. All right, we've got a few things here. So let's just see. Hey, John, I thank you. Yes, John, I'm going to be sharing the documents. Stick with me. How do you propose to do invites? Just posting on LinkedIn, Christina's asking. So I do two things. I post it on LinkedIn, and I also send it through my email list as well. So I do both. But I'll post it on. I don't really focus a lot on other platforms like Instagram at all. I only focus where my ideal people are hanging out. Most of us are hanging out on LinkedIn. I will sometimes post it on Twitter because I have a certain following of business people only on Twitter, and I don't want to get into a whole discussion about Twitter. We really don't have a lot of options for professional delivery, but I use my email and LinkedIn. Jonathan, I'd love to connect. You got it. I love connecting. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to post my LinkedIn, profile, so you can get with me. But I'm also going to post, when I post this on LinkedIn, I will also include it in the comments as well. So you'll have it there too. Okay, there you go. All right, and let's see. Do I want to share? Thank you, Rick. Do I want to share this very presentation with our Voyager community? They would love it. Happy to do that. Yes, yes, yes. We love collaborating with all fractional communities. All right, one thing I want to say about this template. So this template, it's actually 2 pages, you guys, but I have it in a PDF for you. If you want it, just send me an email, nancy@fractionals.ai, and say perfect webinar format in the subject line. Can you remember that? Perfect webinar format in the subject line. And I will send it to you. In the future, I'm going to be creating, we have lots of templates and lots of tools for fractional executives and consultants. We will be housing them in a very special location soon, and you will be able to sign up for them. But these LinkedIn Lives were really pretty much, they're sort of informal, but later on we'll have an opportunity for you to get a lot more of our templates and tools, which you can sign up for and get them for yourself. So my pleasure. Hi, Michael, welcome. Do I repeat the same presentation on multiple LinkedIn Lives, or do I change up the topic? Every week I do a different topic. So that's a whole other conversation about how do I know what content to post. That is a whole other training that I will be doing for fractionals and for consultants. So stand by for that. There's a whole, let me give you a little hint. The hint is 10 migraine headaches. And I have a whole training just on that, how to actually know what to post and how to capture people that really draws them in and keeps them connected to you. I'm going to post this here. My email address is nancy@fractionals. Oops, I have to learn how to spell. nancy@fractionals.ai is my email address. And yeah, and by the way, if you guys have any other topics that you would like to hear about, please let me know. One of the other things that we're going to be doing a lot more of in the future is we are going to be interviewing entrepreneurs, SMBs, owners who have engaged fractional executives or would like to. And the reason is we know that for our fractional community, we need to raise the awareness a lot among the entrepreneurial community. So it's a big mission of mine. And I hope you'll want to, join me in that. But we can't do it. We need to do it together. So that's one of the reasons I'm interviewing entrepreneurs. I want them to share their experiences so that we can hear it from their perspective, right? All right. Any other questions, you guys? Okay, I'm really glad that you found this helpful. Reach out to me. I'll send you the template. I love sharing all of that. And watch out next week. Every week I do a different topic, and I'll be posting about that toward the end of the week. All right, you guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you for being with me. Loved having you. You're the best. This is just the most amazing profession ever. So, and watch for my posts on LinkedIn because I share it every single day. All right, you guys, take care. Bye.